Howdy, partners. This is MassiveEffectMarketing.com. My name is Kiram. We make websites go from this to this. Today we're looking at a website right here, McBrownFlyfish.com, and it's got some pretty big errors, crucial mistakes, fatal mistakes. We're going to take a look at it and see what's wrong. So we'll just jump right in. So I'm just going to scroll through and I want to see if you see the fatal mistakes. So there we are, that's the whole website. So there's quite a few, but one I want to touch on is this layout right here on the right side, this right column. We've got a bunch of goodies in here. We have their social media buttons, right? Then we have some memberships, right, for a Chamber of Commerce. We've got a membership for this association, we have a license, and we have a book, and we have more social, social icons. So there's a whole bunch of random things here, right? And then we have subscribe for a newsletter, and then we have categories. So this is basically like a WordPress blog. Let's check if it's WordPress. There it is, WP. So it's WordPress. So the problem with this is for the website visitor, this right-hand column, right, this right-hand section here is invisible because this is where ads usually are. So this layout does not serve you well at all. You will literally be invisible, whatever you put in here. And unfortunately, they put some of their best stuff in here. This license, this association membership, and this one as well. The social buttons doesn't really matter, but those three trust elements, I like to call them, the license and the association memberships, should be featured right up front at the top here so that people see them and it's in their face and they can't miss it. They're never going to see them. They're putting some of their best stuff in this right-hand column, which will be invisible. So that is a fatal mistake. It needs to be like this over here, right? And it needs to be right in your face. You can't miss it. So they need to do the same thing, and they need to remove this whole layout. This is a typical, WordPress blog layout, and it's not built to convert leads, to convert visitors into leads and sales. They're not built for that. It's just built for articles, just heaps of text and some photos. It's not made to optimize for sales. So that's a really big mistake when you're going with WordPress and you're taking a layout like this. You're basically shooting yourself in the foot. So let's lose that right-hand column. Let's get those logos put down here. Another thing, obviously, there's no branding going on. There's no logo. There's just a big blank background and then the company name. This is terrible as far as brand identity is concerned, because you can't be generic. If you're generic, you're forgettable, and if you're forgettable, you're not going to ever convert your visitors and get them back to your website. They won't remember you. So you have to be memorable. It needs to be custom done. This looks like every other WordPress website, right? And you can't have that impression because you're just going to be blank. When people look at this website, they're just going to be like, oh, okay, and they're just going to forget about it. So it needs to be distinct. They need to have the value proposition put up here. They need an actual logo. They need a background image of some sort. And they need a call to action, of course, right? This text should actually be in this font size. This is reversed for whatever reason. So this whole section has to be redone. It is a bit of a disaster. Now, the other thing which you may not realize is over here on the left-hand side, we have the content area, right? We've got headings, we've got paragraphs, we've got photos, headings, paragraphs, headings and paragraphs and photos, and they're kind of like laying out their whole company, their services, about them. And this is a huge mistake the way they're doing this, because it's all repetitious. It has big blocks of text, heading, big blocks of text, photo, and then the same stuff over and over again as far as format is concerned. And that is actually um, likely to make the web visitor go blank. People will tune out. If there's not enough variation in the design, people will go blank and they'll tune out. This is why when you watch videos on YouTube, people edit the video so it's not one straight camera shot through the whole video. Usually they'll do edits, they'll do clips from this angle, clips from that angle, they'll do some stock footage, but there's continuous change, right? And continuous change keeps the web visitor awake and from going and not going into hypnotized mode. So when you land on a page like this, it's very easy to just not even bother reading any of it. Just read the headings, and then be done with it, because it's so repetitious, it doesn't really make you want to read it. So that's why this type of a layout is just terrible for a business. I mean, it's fine if you have articles, right? But this is a homepage for a website that's designed to, you know, make sales, get revenue. And they're putting their website in this blog format, and there's just no design variation, and it's just completely, people are going to tune out when they read this. So you have to have that design variation. You got to go back and forth with different design sections. You know, for instance, over here we've got a row with 3 columns. Over here we've got the picture here. Over here the picture is there. Picture is back. You know, 2 rows, 3 columns. Right in the middle. You know what I'm saying? So there has to be this variation. When you get into stuff like this, people will tune out. So that's fatal, utterly fatal. So don't use a WordPress template like this for your homepage if you're trying to sell stuff. So that is fatal error number 3. There's more as we look through here. We see there's just tons of things missing. Additionally, people don't read this much. So not only is it too repetitious, right? Like even this is fine, this amount of text, right? A little bit of text, little heading, little button. Some text, heading, and a button. That's a good digestible amount. But when you get into bits like this, people are not going to read that much on your homepage. This needs to be on an inside page. Instead, you need to put snippets, because people actually scan read. So this is a very fast way to basically lose a visitor. When they see this, they're just going to scroll right through it. Unless, of course, they've already been to your website a few times and they are further along in the funnel, so to speak, and they're more interested. Otherwise, though, the homepage needs to be very bite-sized. The homepage needs to be basically snippets of your whole website, right? A bit of an about section, a bit of this, a bit of this, a bit of this, and this. Just section by section like that, and snippets, and very bite-sized. You don't just paste in all this text on your homepage like that. It's just gonna, no one's gonna read it. Although it's good for your search engine optimizations, you still need to display it in a way that it's not going to make you lose visitors, because then that would just be ridiculous. So you have to think of Google and your web visitors. There's other things that we're missing, of course. We're missing a ton. I don't see testimonials on here. You know, I don't see reviews. Although there's a lot of text with a lot of info, it's not presented in a way that I can digest it. So there's a lot of sections that need to be added to this. You know, they have their services basically laid out, which is good. They've got about us in here as well, but they need to put a lot more other sections. They would really benefit from something like this. Let me show you. Oops, this one always gets me slippery. This is really well laid out, although there's too many in here. There's 6. It's kind of hard to take all this in. But you see, when you lay out info like this, it's very impactful, right? No one's going to miss this. So when we see 1987, you know, it's very small, 1987, you know, 35 years, right? This is key data. And I'm sure there's some others, right? Like how many classes have they done at their fishing school, right? How many students have they done, right? So that's key data. It should be presented in a way like this, right? 35 years in business, 5,000 students trained, 1,000 courses, something like that, where it helps to get out of this monotony, and then they're not losing their key data in this sea of text. They're just putting it right out there, front and center, lots of space, and then no one's going to miss it. It'll be much more impactful, and that's really going to help the conversions as well. So making a section, oops, good Lord, this is a slippery one. Making room for a section for each topic, right? You're being very generous with your space when you do something like this, as opposed to this where you're just cramming everything in. So that's another point that they're missing out on, getting those vital statistics, that key data, and then featuring it. Because if you land on this company, you've never heard of them, you need to be reassured they're legit. That's why we're taking all these trust logos from here, right? This license, memberships, and we're putting them front and center up here, and we're putting those vital statistics as well as an additional section, all towards building trust and saying, hey, we're a real company, we've been doing this for this long, these are our results. We're not, we're not just another fake WordPress website, because that's the impression you get when you land on this. It's like, oh, who are these guys? I don't know. So you have to display the data so it works for you. And then it goes on and on and on. There's much more we can do to this, but I really want to cover those 3 fatal mistakes. Again, it was a generic template that doesn't have any brand identity, just easily forgettable, looking like everyone else. The other point was putting trust logos, super valuable trust logos on the right-hand side, which is invisible to people because that's where ads usually are. So we have blindness to this whole section. That was the second fatal mistake. And the last one, of course, was just dumping in paragraphs and paragraphs of the same formatted content, creating basically a hypnotic effect where all the content is the same, no variation, so there's going to be no interest in reading it and people will tune out. So that's a big one. You have to have a lot of variation in your design. So that is the deal. If you want your website properly done, come on down to massiveeffectmarketing.com. We've been at it forever. Masters of websites. We will take you from this, from a steaming pile of that, to a glorious website that actually gets you results. So come on down, check us out, and we can do a little video for you. Do a video, show us your website, go ahead and put it in the comments, put the website address, and then we can do a little video, see what's good, see what's bad, and I can give you some suggestions so then you can make some changes for free, no worries. Do a video for free and you can make those changes and get rocking and rolling. So go ahead and do that. Until then, thank you very much and take care.